Hello and welcome back to the sewing room. Today we're going to study the front flide zipper. We're going to learn how to install it in the form of a storyboard. Now the front flide zipper is installed at the center front of the pants, and it is right over left for women, the same way the shirts button, and left over right for men, again the same way the shirts button. That way you get a nice clean line all the way down and it doesn't look out of place. Now many people are not aware of that. In fact, in my classes the first thing that the students do is take a look at their jeans, and sure enough they are made like this for women, which is totally wrong. It is not supposed to be like that. So here are a couple of samples of finished front flide zippers. This one is for women, right over left. This one is for men, left over right. I highlighted the stitching line so it's easier to see. So you see the difference? We are going to do a cut-in fly rather than a sew-in, so there's no seam and very little bulk along the front of the pant. I'm not sure about you, but I don't like to have any more bulk there than necessary. There's already enough. So that's what we're going to do with this. I will show you how to add the little piece at the front to fold in so that you're going to be able to do the decorative stitching, as opposed to having a separate piece and machine stitching it on. And then I'm going to show you step by step how to install the front flide zipper. The first time is the hardest. After that, it's smooth sailing. I have broken the process down into steps. So step 1, you're going to just interface and stitch the center front. Step 2, you're going to add the zipper to the one side. Now the trick here is to remember which side you're leaving open. Step 3, you're going to do the stitching that will show, if this was jeans, that would be in yellow or whatever contrasting color. And step 4, you're going to add the shield, so that way if the zipper gets undone you can't see through. So this is the shield that gets added in. Then you're going to do step 5. You're going to stitch the zipper to the flap on the other side. And then step 6, you're going to do the decorative stitching on the front, not catching anything on the back. So the decorative stitching is over here, not catching the shield is what I meant to say. The end result will look like this. A well-hidden zipper. You can open it. The shield is there on the inside so that you can't see anything even if it does unzip. And it's a beautifully finished, once it's all serged and everything on the inside, it's tacked down and it's beautifully finished so that doesn't flop over. So that is your front flide zipper. It's much easier than you think. You will need some tracing paper, scissors, and a pencil as well. Some lightweight fusible interfacing, lightweight or ultra lightweight. You're going to need some fabric, just maybe some broadcloth or something will be fine. And I'd like for you to do it in 6 steps. So 6 separate pants fronts is what you're going to be cutting. So you're going to have 12 pieces actually, because it's going to be 6 fronts that are going to be joined together. Okay, I will show you the steps and you will follow suit. Okay, so you're going to need to cut the 6 of the shield, or no, 4 of the shields, 6 of the fronts, and you're going to need to cut enough interfacing for all of your steps. Okay, so you've got your pattern piece and you've got your flap. You're just going to go ahead and tape it down the front. Taking note that this is the fold line where you're joining them, and this is also going to be marked as the center front. Now for this sample piece, you can take some tracing paper and just trace it just down, just past the inseam. You don't need the whole thing. This side here on the hip side, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter what that looks like. It can be just straight down, it can be on an angle, it can be cut out. That doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. You're interested in the front. So this is the part that is the most important for you. So you're going to go ahead and trace this and then cut it out. So you're tracing just like this. And you're going to actually trace that center front line as well. Okay? That's all you need. So you're tracing this down this way, and then you can just cut it like that. So it resembles this. Okay, you've got your pattern piece. Now you're going to take and you're going to trace just this part here to create the shield. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to trace the shield to create the interfacing piece. So you're just going to trace it over, and the interfacing piece goes inside the shield as well as inside the flap on the opposite side. Okay? So that's that. Now we're going to just cut the paper out. Now for inside the flap, you'll want to fold it on the long side. So for inside the flap, the interfacing is going to look like this. So you're going to fold it on the long side and cut. So you mark this as interfacing. And this is your grain line as well as your fold line. So that is the other piece. Now there's one more little piece to do for the shield that's going to look like this. So you're going to take your little shield here, your little flat piece, and you're going to actually now trace it this way. So you notice that on the inside I have the shorter side. So the shorter side is now going to be on the fold. as opposed to the long side. So we're going to do this. Now I'm explaining this to you just so that you can understand the absolute best way of creating a front slide zipper so that you get the best possible outcome. Because if you don't put the interfacing in there, you can still put the zipper in, but then it doesn't have the strength, the wear and tear, and B, it just doesn't lie nice and flat and is not crisp. So this is for the shield. Alright, so we're going to mark this as shield. Interfacing. And this is also the fabric. Shield. Again, this is your grain line as well as the fold line. Okay. Maybe that way you can see it better. Yes. So this is the interfacing and the fabric for the shield. This is the interfacing only for the flap. So you see the difference? One goes round and the other one comes to a point to the inside. It looks almost like a scalloped edge. Now once you have your pattern piece pinned, let's just say that this was just a square piece of fabric, you're going to add a dot right here. And you can add it with the pencil on your sample. We're going to do this to add that dot on the other side. Okay, so you saw what I did? There's the pin, there's the dot. I marked it on this side. To get it onto the other side, I'll poke a pin through and just mark it there. And that saves a lot of time. Now, you're going to go ahead and cut it out. Doesn't matter, seam allowance is at the bottom, doesn't really matter. Over here you have to have, well, at least 1 centimeter. Then you're going to go around the edge. And you don't need much seam allowance on this side, if any at all, maybe a couple of millimeters. You don't need very much at all. And then you're going to clip to the dot. So just clip. Okay. To mark your seam allowances, you're just going to do some clippies. So you're going to see with your eye, you're just going to finish that off. Clip there. Clip there. Clip there. And you're also going to, at the top, you would be leaving the same seam allowance, and you're also going to be clipping here at the center front, so you'll know that this line and that dot join up. Simple enough, isn't it? Okay, now our interfacing. So this is the interfacing for the flap. That goes like this. And this is the interfacing for the shield. Now I've already cut out a shield, so now all I need is the interfacing. So I don't need any seam allowance on the interfacing at all. I take that back. I have a tendency to put a little bit at the top to go to the waistband. Then, for the shield, I left some seam allowance down at the bottom, and at the top as well you have to have it so that it'll fit your waistband, but nothing at the sides. You don't need any at the sides. So let me just pin that down. There's one. And you cut the seam allowance for the shield exactly the same as the fabric, complete with seam allowances. It just makes life a whole lot easier that way.